So I started studying behavioural science so that I could really answer the big questions in life. And obviously one of them was, why have I got pots of kiwi flavoured yoghurt in my fridge? No one particularly likes kiwi flavoured yoghurt. No one would certainly make it as their first choice. So how do these end up in my fridge? Well, we tend to do a big food shop once a week and we top it up at the local shop. When you make a decision on one day for a period of time, you tend to overemphasize choice. So as a result, we buy our yogurt on one day for the whole week. So we tend to overemphasize choice, which is why these things are sold to us in variety packs. Strawberries, probably one of my favourites. So I never actually get to eat that because that's always the first one that goes. But if we went into the shop every day to buy the yoghurt that we were going to eat that day, we would probably end up with 4 strawberry yoghurts rather than this variety pack we've got here. Now, I did test this out on my daughter when I told her she'd been particularly good and she could go and buy 5 sweets from the local shop, which I would give her 1 sweet each day of the week. So she came back with 2 of her favourites and 3 others. On the Monday and the Tuesday, she chose her favourite. On the Wednesday, when I asked her which one she wanted, she chose obviously one of the other ones, and then I offered her the option to go and swap it for her favourite, and which she said she wanted to do. She also, the same thing on the Thursday and the same thing on the Friday. So if she'd gone into the shop every day, at the end of the week, she would have chosen 5 of the same sweets. But because she made that decision on one day for the whole week, she didn't feel that she would want to eat the same thing every day. Where in fact, if the choice architecture had been different, that's exactly what she would have done. I've also struggled with fashion. I've never understood why something's suddenly fashionable and then not fashionable. And I've, like probably most people, always wondered why I'm always in the slowest moving queue. I was online shopping recently, and I was wondering whether I should really be influenced by someone I've never met called Noreen, who absolutely swore blind that the Spear & Jackson stainless steel trowel was by far the best gardening implement anybody could possibly buy. I also find myself standing in certain places on Thameslink platforms based on what's painted actually on the ground. And is it really true that a large percentage of millennials can possibly believe that posting photos of a holiday is as important as actually going on the holiday in the first place? And how can my daughter make so many decisions just based on the icons on her phone? In fact, how do we all do that? Also noticed by the fact that everybody's now devastated by news. No one's just disappointed anymore. By the same token, things that used to be referred to as a problem are now always referred to as a crisis. I really began to understand these issues when I started to understand, or at least understand what I didn't understand about decision making. The decisions that we make every day about how to shop, what to eat, who to meet, who to believe. I mean, it makes for fascinating and engaging conversation. I mean, these are everyday stories of how and why we do what we do. Some are humorous, some are just a humdrum way of day-to-day life, and some obviously can have quite tragic consequences. Everything's moving so fast. I mean, certainly feeling that I get, and probably a lot of people do, and it's easy to feel left behind. It's easy to leave behind the real and the genuine as life seems to turn more and more virtual. I'm informed that our brains have helped us to become the top of the food chain, but mine does not always feel wired for 21st century survival. So I love this subject of behavioural economics, behavioural science, and everyone I meet has a story to tell of what has influenced both major and minor decisions in their lives and the sliding doors consequences that have resulted. The range of subjects we can talk about in these short films, they range hugely, from money to health to families to careers and relationships. And with each episode, we can look at a particular area and take everyday activities from the daily commute to the weekly shop to understand what influences us. We can also look at some of life's bigger decisions. What is clear is that an understanding of why we have made certain choices and what has influenced them gives people confidence and the ability to reflect. It can help in all sorts of areas, an understanding of regret, for example, and that mistakes will always be made, an understanding of individuality and why it is okay not to feel influenced by the crowd. Like I say, everyone has a story to tell, and that story will be the consequence of a decision that was made. How we come to make these decisions makes for fascinating conversation that people can share, relate to, contribute and learn from. And hopefully some of the material we'll be putting out in these short films will help you understand maybe why you've made the decisions that you've made.